Bonjour and welcome to all of you comic book geeks, readers and collectors to a little special on a recent on a recent series, an appreciation of a maxi series, which they used to be called. I don't think they call them that anymore. I think it's just is it just a mini series now? What have they written? And it is on Batman and Robin Year One. And what I realised in reviewing issue 12 of this series that's just finished is how much I really loved it. Every single issue, every page, every panel. Not unexpected from Mark Waid. Ably assisted in the art department by Chris Samnee and Mateus Lopez, is it? On most of the colouring. Yeah. From issue 2 I've noticed it was someone else. Anyway, I thought it was Mateus Lopez on all of it. And also Chris Samnee is down for lettering, and that alongside, is it Cowles? Clayton Cowles. So they are all of our creators. Join me after my little scroll for a look at these 12 issues and why it was such... It's not groundbreaking, but it was a beautiful thing. And Waid shows once again, Mark Waid shows once again why he is a superlative superhero writer who just makes it look so easy. And I'm going to tell you why, how, and how great it is. Okay, so welcome back. First off, what Mark Waid did with this series is make it family friendly without speaking down to the audience. I didn't feel it in one instance with this, all 12 issues of this, and it will make a delicious collected edition. It really, really will. It's obviously Batman and Robin Year One. So it's set in issue 1. We are 3 weeks after, we're told this is 3 weeks after Robin's parents have been killed. I don't think there's many of you out there, are there, that don't know the origin. So 3 weeks after, and this is their first night out together. So he's the young ward, you know, this old fashioned. And we've got Robin, we've got a panel of Robin like smacking his hand together like that, like the old 60s TV series, going, yeah, wham, pow. They don't do it in the big graphic letters. He's saying it, and I think it's just the wink to the audience that Mark Waid and Chris Samnee are giving us. You can see that they are having fun with the old mythos, all the renewal that's going on over here, and it's all great, by the way. I mean, if you don't watch any of my review episodes, I mean, you know, consistently in my top 10 every week, the Batman books. The only one I don't get, I think, is one of them where it's just all of the family and it just winds me right up. But we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about this. And, well, getting back to where I started, he writes a story and Samnee draws the story for an all-age audience. In the end of issue 1, General Grimaldi, one of the bad guy behind all the machinations in this series, he turns up on a private plane with his father in a wheelchair. He's gone, but he's wheeling his dad around, and he spends the series kind of talking to his dad. His dad can't respond, he can't talk. He can see and he can kind of hear, but he can't talk. He can't move through his affliction, whatever's afflicted him. And anyway, the murders, so he arrives on this private plane, and the murders that he gets one of his henchmen to commit on the crew of the private plane is all done off camera. You just get a blam, blam, blam. And this all ages approach, in the hands of Waid, never talks down to its audience, and is never childish, ever, not once. There's none of that stupid profanity. And listen, I'm no shrinking violet, but there's none of that covered up profanity, which is really, it is starting to grate on me a little bit as a collector of many, many years. Why they have to keep inserting the asterisks and the squiggles instead of saying the word. I know, the comics code isn't anywhere anymore, but I don't know. Either don't have them swearing, or just get it, because sometimes it's so unnecessary. It really is. Maybe something like Absolute Batman, we might have to have a bit of profanity in it, or covered up profanity. But here, no, it's straightforward family fare, and I love it. Somehow I love it for that. But it is that old-fashioned, traditional, I would say, classic. It's classic Batman and Robin, and I do like the nods and the winks to the audience from that TV series. So it's great. Commissioner Gordon is introduced in issue 1. The Bat Signal's introduced, and so is Two-Face. Right, so he's going to be our villain along with General Grimaldi, and to come is Clayface. In issue 2, we get a new character, Miss Lynn, who's visiting Bruce and Dick at Wayne Manor. She's the social services, and she's the one who's been told to keep an eye on this billionaire who's looking after this little boy. All standard stuff, but so there's a scene in this where she comes into the room where Dick is waiting, and he's on the chandeliers of this massive room, and he's doing a backflip somersault off of it, because obviously he was in that acrobatic family. And obviously this Miss Lynn isn't impressed, and behind her back there's a panel of Batman kind of going, oh, I'm going to, why you little, and there's another panel with Robin like blowing a raspberry at Alfred. Comical stuff. But this is where the heart of this series is. It's the relationship between Batman and Robin and Alfred. That is it. The gangland stuff with Two-Face and Grimaldi, and shortly I will tell you, Clayface is there as well. But he's revealed. It unravels because there's a mystery at the beginning that Batman is trying to solve, the gangland like shenanigans. He's wondering, why did that bloke commit these crimes in full view of the camera with no mask or hoodie or anything? And he's like, like he's pondering in the Batcave. It's all this classic stuff that has got forgotten over the years. I don't suppose you could do this every month continually and ongoing, times have moved on. But I did love this little slice of the early days of Batman. Batman, Robin, Alfred, Commissioner Gordon, etc., etc. And obviously in this issue, introduced to the Batcave. Issue 4, in this one, Robin actually rescues Batman. Batman's falling, because it's early days for him as well. And when they come back from this mission, Miss Lynn is there again, and Alfred's covering like crazy for him. And they, Bruce is the first one ready and just, stalling her even a bit more. But like I was just begun to say, actually, I drifted off a bit there, didn't I? Off of the gangland stuff with Clayface, Two-Face, and Grimaldi and his dad and all the henchmen and etc. and all of the stuff there. Really, the heart of it is that's just there as the background. Really, front and centre is Batman and Robin, but more Robin in a way, because it's his first year. And Waid just falls short, just keeps it short of the petulant teenage angst angle. He's obviously hurting, right? And he's hiding it, he's disguising it, and that makes him angry sometimes. It makes him, jump in where he shouldn't. Batman's trying to restrain him, and you're not trained quite as well yet, and all the rest of it. So, issue 5, there's a great scene in a great panel in issue 4 where they're trying to break it to Dick kind of gently that he's got to go to school, and then you just see this big school ? Exclamation mark. and it's a long shot of the manor, and it just says school. So it's really handled. It's really handled nicely. It just put a smile on my face. Every month, this comic put a smile on my face, and it's not because, like I say, and it's not because it's silly either. It's that it is the relationship, the growing relationship between the three of them, that the triangle in the manor. And in this one, Batman goes on a solo mission and Robin's bored. He's looking at the clock. Then you see another panel and he's like, just wondering what's that. He goes out on the Batbike. And Alfred's trying to get through to Batman. He's gone, but he's down in he's underground or something like that, and he can't quite. So, and yeah, he ends up captured. So, obviously, in this one, he's obviously rescued by Batman. In this one, this is so the most important bits are the bits aside from that. The rescuing, the daring do. It's kind of like I say, it's kind of like in the background. This is the goes to school issue, Dick, and he's showing off in the playground of the school. It's obviously a very well-to-do one. And Miss Lynn turns up and notices bruises on his arms, and he said, "Oh, I got into a fight." And I can't tell school ground, playground rules. I can't rat on my fellow, my fellow students. Issue 7 is more. Is actually that is the school issue, to be fair. And I did pick up this this cover because I thought it just summed it up. I thought it summed up the heart of this. I don't often buy variants, but when I saw this, I thought, you know what? That cover, for me, just sums up. I don't know whether it should be them kind of dangling or them. But so in issue 8, Robin actually picks up a gun to threaten one of the bad guys with, and Batman obviously, just smacks it out of his hand. This isn't what we do. No guns. Smacks it out of his hands, and he says, Batman's saying, we use fear. And he goes, and again, what makes me smile, he says, how am I going to strike fear in anyone in this outfit? I just loved it. Batman isn't happy. Gives him a proper dressing down in that issue. Now this one, this is where it starts all coming to fruition. All their relationships in this issue, just beautiful stuff. This, it's the first anniversary of Robin's mum's death, and Alfred knows it, and he just has a little chat with, goes into his room and says, anything you want to talk to me about, and like all teenagers do, he's trying to put up a wall and he's trying to be the big man. He thinks that's what Bruce wants of him, and all the rest of it, wants to be tough. And right at the end of it, Alfred just works on him for a couple of pages. It's just them two in the room, and it ends in Dick fighting back the tears and giving Alfred just the most massive hug. Just goes in for the hug. 2 or 3 pages of just pure emotion, and I just found it just a beautiful scene, as beautiful as you're going to get. Like I say, this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but I just found every issue, it was just spot on. By episode 10, Bruce is framed for fraud. So off he gets carted, he gets arrested, off he goes. Alfred struggles to stay hold of Dick, but no, Miss Lynn's there, social services, and he gets put with another family, with a normal family. But Robin turns up to rescue Batman again. Or not to rescue Batman. I don't think he rescues him in this. No, he just kind of turns up. No, this is one where he rescues him again, yeah. Kind of he's falling and you just see a hand come out. He goes, do you think I'd leave you on your own, kind of thing. Again, there's a warmth there. It's between them two, and yeah, it's just great stuff. Just great stuff. And then the ultimate, the end issue, the final issue, where everything's wrapped up. We find out what the villains. Like I say, it is secondary. You want to find out how they move on to the next chapter, how Mark Waid finishes off this chapter, and to begin. Now in this issue, Robin's the one shouting "No guns" to Two-Face. He's aiming a gun at him. There's just a tense moment where Two-Face has got the gun at him, and then Robbie moves his eyes like that and distracts Two-Face's attention and just kicks the gun out of his hand using his acrobatic skills. And there's another great panel where they're running across the bridge and Batman shouts, "To the Batmobile." This issue goes full on. I did say it in my review episode. Sorry if you've seen my review episode. And if you haven't, why not? Get on over there. It was only this week. Anyway, so and the end, one of the end panels, after they've done their press conference in front of the Gotham City, they're kind of announcing themselves, doing a press conference with the bat signal and Commissioner Gordon. Just everyone's in a happy place. The mission has been accomplished, kind of thing. The villain's been vanquished. Like I say, classic stuff. I love it. Batman and Robin, reveal themselves as who they are, and they say, "Here comes the dynamic duo," and they've got another panel in there where they're doing the rope up the wall, which is what I mentioned in the review episode, and it's the classic stuff from the 60s TV show, isn't it? Where they used to have a celebrity, didn't they, come out the window? They don't have anyone come out the window in this one, but they're doing this. They've both got their own rope, and they're doing it up there, like that vertical climb. So, and we find out even Miss Lynn, who's kind of been a bit of a protagonist all the way through, she's finally on side in this issue. Just Mark Waid wrapping everything up so nice and neatly within 12 issues in this storyline. And Miss Lynn kind of helping Bruce in the court, the children's court, or whatever you want to call it, about Bruce getting the stewardship back again. And then he's trying to go to full adoption, but the judge doesn't like him. And Miss Lynn's saying, "Look, just take the whimper now. Just take the whimper now, and that's a battle for another day, full adoption, because the judge don't like you." But he has said that it makes sense. We find out that Miss Lynn lost her parents in a car crash when she was 10. So it kind of it's just a nice way of saying Miss Lynn isn't your enemy. She knows, she feels it. She knows that Bruce lost his parents and that Dick Grayson has lost his parents, so makes a nice, I don't know, maybe a little bit conceited, maybe, but that is why she's working in social services. That's her reason for doing her job. So you could accuse it of being conceited, but I didn't see that. I only just thought of that then and there, but no, this is still as near as perfect a Batman and Robin early years story as you are gonna get. And in the press conference, just to round it all off, Vicky Vale asks a question of the dynamic duo. Love it. And they jump in the Batmobile, and he lets everyone know that he's single. Robin, by the way, ladies, I'm single. Just gives Robin one of the last lines of the comic, and that is why that run of Batman comics was a pure delight for me. Put a smile on my face. A feel good story. It is the personal elements, the behind the scenes. The capes and the cod pieces are secondary to the villains. Well, even third. It's the family thing, then the villains and the capes and all the shenanigans. That's secondary to the personal relationship. I loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I won't waffle on anymore. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you followed me this far. And maybe if you didn't pick that up and thought it was just all standard stuff, no, in Waid's hands, it's a cut above everything else, and it is good. It's so good for all ages as well, which are the bit I love. It hasn't been written down to anyone, but nevertheless, classic, good time fun. If you follow me this far, thank you very, 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 very much, and I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, I'm going to bid you all adios.